Welcome back. Episode 20, Home Tour Podcast. This episode is all about diving into that fun topic of technology. Here we go. It's all about the tech takeover and how technology is transforming South Atlanta real estate. All right, let's hit it. I'm Tyler Willis Photography. Let's throw it on over to Payton. What you got going on?
Yep, I'm Payton Peoples with Payton Peoples and Company, Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners.
I'm Megan Mulvey with CrossCountry Mortgage out of Peachtree City here.
We're just going to have just a couple high-level topics. And the first one I really want to dive into, how is AI impacting our industry?
That's a loaded question.
It's a super loaded question.
Yeah. And I mean, in the most simple ways, a lot of agents are using AI to help with listing descriptions or helping with marketing materials or, just trying to help simplify or streamline processes to get things done. And I will say there are some very successful systems for how to do that, but it also becomes very obvious when you are not proofreading or checking these things prior to publicizing them. It becomes glaringly obvious who just literally put into ChatGPT, write a listing description for this house, and it's not even remotely close to anything. So there's a downside. Too. Absolutely. Yes. There's a downside for sure. But there's a lot of people who are using it for those ways, at least on my side of the real estate world.
And in my world, a lot of photographers are trying to use the AI route to do their editing too. So they'll try to plug in some imaging. And yes, I do use forms of it, like virtual staging. That is a form of artificial intelligence. And so I have a whole catalog of assets that I can use to take a vacant property and stage it to make it look like a stager's come in. But you can tell, like, I can get it pretty freaking close to making it look as real as I can, but you can still tell. But a lot of people will literally plug it in and hit the autofill button, and next thing you know, it spits out some stuff. So it's like, it doesn't fit, doesn't look right, like you could tell. And so, like, that's one of the ways that I'm seeing AI used in my field, is that people are just trying to cut corners. And so, like, it's fast, but it's not great. And so, like, it's that whole debate of fast is good, but fast doesn't, like, it's that whole debate. So that's how I'm seeing AI kind of in my field.
Yeah. Megan, do you see AI impacting you guys a lot?
Not as much, because we are such a information only type, like, of the transaction. And so, we literally are getting information straight from the borrower. So, we can't really use AI as much as you guys can for marketing purposes and everything. But, technology-wise, we're just, personally, I use, like, things like, I know you all are going to talk about, like, Canva and everything for marketing on top of what my own company does. But I do my own also to personalize it. And then, technology-wise, we have online applications. We have literally an app in the App Store. So we're always developing technology, but AI isn't really, on the mortgage side, isn't really
which is probably a good thing.
Actor.
That's kind of one of those.
Great thing.
I would really
I
like
am a new borrower.
Right. I would really like
Exactly.
for a person to be handling that. So
yes. Yeah. Not a computer.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
But since you mentioned Canva, we can kind of jump and talk to, like, about apps and things that we're using that are really helping grow our business or make things easier. So Canva, I think across the board, everybody is using that at some kind of level. And if you're not, I highly encourage you to jump into that. There's a free version of Canva. I will say that if marketing is important to you on any level, please pay for the paid version. It's worth every penny.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
It's $7.99 or something.
Yeah.
Something.
It's ridiculously cheap.
Yeah. So
because otherwise you have to go on, what is it, Fiverr to find a graphic designer. Then it's a lot of back and forth communication between y'all. And then, like, you have to pay $20 to $30 to get a poster made where you could just do it yourself. Like,
you could do it all yourself.
Time. Yeah. Like, there's a ton of YouTube tutorials out there on how to use Canva.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have training as a graphic designer, and I still use Canva. I don't use Adobe InDesign anymore. Like, I just do it all in Canva, and it's way faster.
Yes, absolutely. So people ask me all the time, oh, how did you design that? Or where did you do that at? Canva. The answer is Canva.
It
Like,
is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10,
Canva.
editing and stuff, it's either Canva or I'm using CapCut for,
Right.
different types of videos situations. But Canva is hands down the number one app to use for any business. Honestly, this goes past real estate, but there's templates for everything. So if you don't feel like you're super creative or you need some direction, there's that, or you can start from scratch and do it all
Template, throw it
yourself.
in. Yep.
So
Oh, and you can
it's
also
gonna,
invite collaborators too. So like if you're on a
can.
team,
Yeah.
like you can start a team and there could be like one main account and then you have people working with you. So that way you can pass back and forth and be like, hey, I'm going to create a block on this. Can you take over? Yep. Just click on it and it's all there in the cloud. That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Yep. So it is fantastic. Another great app that we use on my side is called Showing Time, and this is how we schedule showings. So if I'm going to request a showing for a buyer, that I go into Showing Time, or I can use the app and I'll request it and it'll go to the listing agent. And depending on how the listing agent has it set up, it might also go to the seller. And one of the two of them would approve my request to show the property, or they would deny it and say, this is why this time doesn't work for us, or we're already under contract, or whatever, and allows us to communicate directly back and forth specifically about showing the property. And then that's not something that's available for buyers to do. So the buyers use that through their agent. But as a seller, you should have the option with your listing agent to have access to that. So if you don't, or you don't understand how that works, make sure you ask your listing agent to explain that option to you, because it should be available to you as well.
And then hopefully once they show up at property, there's a Supra sitting right
Yes.
there. So that way that other piece of technology. So in case you don't know, a Supra is a lockbox that's there that the listing agent will get a notification of when it's opened and when it's closed.
Yes.
And so that's the only way people can access the property. And don't freaking give out your username and passwords. That's illegal. It's 100% illegal. People stop doing it.
Stop doing that. Yeah. So, Super Access is only for licensed agents. There's specific codes that are available to be given out to contractors, or, if real estate photographers or anybody else like that who's not a licensed real estate agent needs to get in the house. There's other different ways and codes to get them in with that Super box, but that's how it's not only tracking who comes in and out of the house, it tells us exactly what time you were there, you took the key out of the box, you put it back in the box. So it's just good history tracking for everyone, but that's also number one app that we use too. It's the only way, at least in our area. Other areas of the country, Supra's here nor there. There's other options, but in our area, Supra is king.
So much easier than it'd be like, well, here's the contractor code. Like, just give me a Super token. So
Yeah. Yep.
way easier,
And it's
way safer.
so much more secure and definitely safer. That's for sure. So talk to us a little bit, Tyler, about like the virtual reality side of things.
Yes. So, okay. Full transparency. I'm a gamer. I love video games. The whole area. I don't have time for them anymore, but I love like still learning about the technology there. And so a couple years ago, like virtual reality has been around for a while, especially like rudimentary. Back in like the 90s, there was like the Game Boy. Like there was a system that you can put your little head into and you can play a game and stuff. But it's morphed over the time. And so back during 2020 is kind of when virtual reality really started to take off. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, we're also looking for advertisers. So Facebook. But anyways, Metaverse took off. And yes, it was kind of a joke at first, but it gained a lot of ground really fast. And so he's come out with his own headsets, whole 9 yards. And now what the real estate side is starting to take advantage of is you can actually create virtual tours of these homes. Yes, there's these massive cameras out there called Matterports, and you can go in, you could scan a whole home or even a property or a business and create virtual tours. But there's also different lenses that photographers are now being able to get our hands on. Canon has one out. It's basically like a dual fish eye looking lens. It's really freaky, but you can actually go through and video a property. throw it into a program, and create a virtual tour. And so, say if Payton had like a buyer client and they wanted to tour 3 properties all in the day, and she's like, "Hey, these properties are 40 miles apart. Like, we can't do this." Payton could contact me. I could go out there with this proper equipment, film the properties, host them, send her the video link, and then in her office, she could have them put on the goggles if she had access to them, put on the headset, and then view these properties in virtual reality. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like it's next level kind of thinking, but that to me that's the trend of where we're going to be going here soon. And so like having to like when I was in classroom teaching, I always told my students you have to have a phase 1. You have to have a stage 1 of a project. And that's kind of what we're getting into with like the next steps of what real estate could look like. Because imagine, I could go out and video 100 properties. Then all 100 properties are there and hosted for whatever agent wants to then view them wherever they want in the world. So like that's like next level kind of thinking where I think it's going to be in the next couple of years. Our market's going to start seeing a lot more of those kind of tours.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I would say that was, even 5 years ago, people would have looked at you like you had 5 heads saying something like that.
Yeah.
But since COVID and how we had to reinvent how we showed properties, and virtual tours were honestly what kept our whole market moving forward. Seeing some advances in that makes sense.
And that terminology, whenever we say virtual tour right now, is just a stagnant, I've gone in, I've videoed, and you can only see whatever the point of perspective was that the person at the time was recording. Now, remember, with virtual reality, it's 360.
You're getting 360.
I can spin around at any time and look wherever. And so, like, that's kind of where I see it morphing to. Like, imagine, we've all seen them. I even offer them now. The still images of the Matterport kind of tours. And so you can click on the little arrows inside the house and look and spin the camera around and see, but it's a still image. What's coming is this video aspect of the 360 world. You can even get really cheap ones. You can get what they call the Google Cardboard box. And like you just stick your phone into the box and you have an instant like virtual reality headset. And
That's
so
crazy.
It's
That's crazy.
Wild. They're starting to shoot movies in virtual reality. Like, it's crazy what's kind of coming. It's still, to me, it's still like a good 5 to 10 years out before it's like high quality stuff. Yeah. But I mean, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
Yeah. So the other part of this was creating hyper personal content and like what that looks like. So
Payton's the key to this, y'all.
So this is really my creme de la creme over here. But so a lot of times with like my higher price points, because I have tiered services. So based on, the commission level that you choose and based on the price point of the home, we kind of decide together when we're working together what you want as far as marketing is concerned. But a lot of times with at least my full packages or my higher price point, they're going to come with a personal website for that home. So I'm going to create a specific website that's just about this house. So, I'll create a QR code so that when somebody's in the house, they can scan the QR code and it'll take them to not just like the MLS listing with some information, like it's specific with all the information, all of the photos that I've had Tyler take, and if I had him do a video, all of that is going to be linked in one place, so that way it's easy for you to reference back to get information for, but it's also just a good place to allow people to come and feel like they've left educated. They didn't just see a house. They understand what all is going on with the property as well. And that's just super important, especially in certain price points and, with family homes and stuff like that, investment properties, not so much, but in almost every other aspect, it's super important. And I don't see a whole lot of agents doing that, but creating that hyper local expertise makes a difference, in my opinion.
And you'll even throw in there, like, what's the community like? Like, how far are you away from X property? Like, how far are you away from the grocery store? Like, you get super specific on those kind of properties.
Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of if you're familiar with the area or not, or if you're from here or you're not, you may not be super familiar with, well, where's the Publix or where's the Kroger or where's the Walmart or where's the Target, like in relation to where I am in this house, what is that going to make
it?
my lifestyle look like? So giving all of that information and spending the time on the front end to give that information out and it not be something that the buyer has to figure out on their own makes the whole transaction easier and just an easier sell overall.
I love it.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, tech is always evolving. It's always changing. We're always getting new things. But the stuff that we kind of talked about today is like our tried and true. The stuff that even as it grows and changes, we're still going to come back and use this stuff all the time.
Over and over and over.
And it makes a huge difference in all of our businesses. So, yeah, that's all we got.
Cool.
Awesome.
That was this one, guys. Like Payton said, I whenever I was in the classroom, I used to teach the technology class, and so like even stuff that I would teach at the beginning of the school year was already out of date by the end of that school year. So it's like always evolving. But there's like at the end of the day, there's rudimentary, fundamental things that as long as you're learning and adapting, you can just like put them in your business. How can I take this quick little Canva on YouTube video and apply it to my business and be able to then figure out like how I can easily market myself a little bit better. Just as long as you're learning something new in the tech world, like you're going to be evolving your business overall.
Yep. Completely agree. So thanks for joining us for episode 20 about our tech takeover. And next week, we're going to be talking about the future of South Atlanta real estate and trends to watch for this year and beyond. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you watch all of our episodes on YouTube and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media channels. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.